In this video, I'm going to go over why I decided to make the move and buy Amazon stock. We're going to talk price. We're going to talk about everything about Amazon's business model. Let's get straight into it. Number one, let's look at price. And what we've got here is the price to earnings ratio. And we've got the price to earnings ratio of 6 big stocks: Google, Meta, Nvidia, Amazon, Tesla, Microsoft, and Apple. So this just shows the PE ratio of all of them. As you can see, Tesla's just ridiculously expensive on a PE basis. So let's just get rid of Tesla. But what you'll notice, so Nvidia's PE is 50, Apple's is 39, Microsoft's is 37.9, Amazon is 33, Google is 26, and Meta is 26 too. So, right away you've got Amazon, it's in the bottom 3, which is good. Nvidia, it's a bit too pricey, and you could argue Apple and Microsoft are a little bit too pricey too. So on a PE basis, they're definitely not cheap by any stretch of the imagination, but they're not, crazy expensive. Next thing, let's look at revenue. I like to see revenue that is growing, and Amazon's revenue is just year in and year out growing at a really nice rate. As you can see, this is 135 billion in 2016. 2020, it was 390 billion, and then today it's 670 billion dollars of revenue, and that's a compounded annual growth rate of 22% over 9 years' time. So, yeah, there's not much more you can ask for in terms of that. Let's look at profit now. It has been a bit of an up and down sort of thing. Obviously, in 2022, they lost money. That was just an irregularity. But basically, every year, they're growing in terms of profit. Now they make $70 billion a year in terms of profit. So again, that's really good. If you think about Amazon's business model, they really do have a diversified quality range of businesses. So let's quickly go over them, because a stock is a company, a business, so we need to understand how they make money. One key way, not the key, but one of the major key ways they make money is obviously through e-commerce, and they absolutely dominate the e-commerce market. As you can see, Amazon accounted for 80% of marketplace sales, 40% of e-commerce sales, and 4% of retail sales in the US in 2023. And let's be honest, e-commerce is not going away anytime soon. It's actually going to keep growing, and it's going to keep disrupting brick and mortar retail sales, because it's just easier just to click and buy things online compared to filling up your car, driving to the shop, talking to people, then buying, then driving all the way home. It's so much easier to buy things online, and more people are just going to keep doing so. So they're in a business that is growing, which is nice. But second, let's talk about AWS. Amazon's web services through the cloud. It is one of the largest and most profitable cloud providers in the world. It generates huge margins compared to the retail side of the business, and it fuels much of Amazon's overall profits. I actually believe it fuels more of Amazon's profits than the e-commerce business, which is crazy. Look at the margins. Look at these margins. Over 30% in operating margins, and they've grown since Q1 2023. So, what they make, a large percentage of that, they actually get to keep as profit. So it's such a powerful business, and, it's competing against Microsoft, Google. But again, this is another business that's very hard to come in and compete and, build all of these data systems and offer these complex solutions for customers. It's too hard for just an average business to come in and compete. So you're talking e-commerce, and you got AWS. These are two of the core businesses for Amazon, and they're great businesses. Next, let's think about it. Amazon has a strong ecosystem and a strong amount of customer loyalty with Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime, it's grown and grown and grown. As of 2025, it's got 150 million users in the US, and I believe worldwide it has 200 million Prime users, which can just drive repeat users, repeat money for the business. It's one of the better business models when you have this subscription-based business, because customers will just keep paying month over month. Think about the ecosystem. It includes Prime Video, it includes Kindle, Audible, Alexa, Amazon Music. It's just keeping customers inside the Amazon world. It's kind of like how Apple does it. Apple, they've got their AirPods, they've got the phone, they've got the MacBook, and it's all connected. And if you buy one, then you want to buy the other. You need to buy the other because it's, they use USB-C and, they do AirDrop all together. It's kind of like that. You're in the Apple world. It's the same with Amazon. Once you get into e-commerce, then you get into Prime, then you get into Audible, you're in the Amazon world, and that's, it's a moat. It's a moat for business. But let's think about it some more. What's another one of their core business that people often miss? Think about it for a second. Advertising. Let's read this article. Amazon's ad business hits a milestone. Amazon's advertising business hit a milestone in the second quarter of 2025, capturing 9.36% of the company's total revenues, the highest share ever recorded, and it rose 23% year over year to $15.7 billion. Amazon's ad ecosystem reaches over 300 million ad-supported users in the United States alone, spanning retail, Prime Video, Twitch, and Fire TV, and live sports like the NFL, NASCAR, and the NBA. So, this ad business has become a major revenue stream for Amazon, and it's leveraging its retail dominance, which is very smart. And this is an interesting fact, its ad division is now bigger than YouTube's in terms of revenue. YouTube, the giant video streaming place. I don't know how else to put it, but YouTube's massive. I make so much of my money from YouTube, and YouTube's just grown and grown and grown, and it's taken over so much of TV, and it makes so much in terms of ads. It just keeps 40% of ad revenue just through hosting the server. We've got another article, Amazon's secret weapon, the advertising business that's quietly crushing Google. Amazon pulled in over $61 billion in revenue from ads in the last 12 months, which is absurd when you think about it. They're tucked into the search results, sitting there like a normal product listing. People click without thinking twice, and that quiet trick has made Amazon a giant in digital ads. Here's a little bit of a feel for their past advertising revenue. So you got 12 billion, 19 billion, 30 billion, 47 billion, 57, and then 61 billion. Like, this is becoming a giant. And now I would be remiss if I did not talk about the major new disruptor in the modern world, which is AI. So Amazon's big into AI. They're investing heavily into artificial intelligence, logistics, automation, and cloud-based AI services. The company has exposure to generative AI through AWS and partnerships with AI startups. So, their founder, Jeff Bezos, he's still, he's not Warren Buffett's age. He still wants to keep, developing Amazon, and he's very interested in AI. So, Amazon's at the forefront of AI. There's no doubt about it. And then now let's think about the scale through their logistics business. So this is an image that gives you a feel for its logistics business. They have a whole ecosystem with it through their storage, through the road transit, through the distribution platform, through sorting everything, to delivering it to the customer's front door. So they've built this up over years and years and years. And as I said before, it's very hard for some other business to come in and compete against Amazon. Amazon's fulfillment network is one of the most advanced in the world, and they've invested into the same day / next day delivery, and that gives it what Warren Buffett calls a competitive moat that basically all smaller retailers, they cannot match. So, and that's so important. Getting what you bought within one day is so big. It gives you that dopamine hit, and it just gives Amazon such an advantage. But Amazon is still expanding. They're still growing internationally, especially in emerging markets like India. That's something people don't often think about. And Latin America. These early stage markets can still provide some long-term growth. They're not as developed as they are in America. So think about that as a business model. They have diversified revenue streams, retail, cloud, ads, subscription, and devices. And even if the retail margins are thin, they've got AWS and ads, which are very thick in terms of margins, and they provide sustainability and stability with the amount of money that is brought in every year and every month. But Amazon's, they're not a short-term minded business. Historically, Amazon has reinvested profits into long-term growth rather than just focusing on the short-term earnings. And Jeff Bezos' strategy from day one, innovation is still at the core under the current CEO, Andy Jassy. So I really like the businesses that don't just try focus on the next quarter to make as much money as they can in the next quarter and then forget about, hey, like we're building over 5, 10, 15 years time. That's the most important time to make money. We don't really care too much about next quarter. It's a long-term focus, and that is key. And these are just some of the reasons why I bought the stock.